and book is light for the future.
Welcome to PTV World Live from Islamabad. I'm Hira Mustafa with the top stories of this hour. Pakistan and Afghanistan have agreed to establish a national-level coordination mechanism for enhancing facilitation at border crossing points. The understanding reached during the two-day visit of National Security Advisor Moeed Yusuf to Kabul at Prime Minister Imran Khan welcomes Justin Trudeau's statement. According to the National Command and Operations Center, Pakistan reports 7,048 new cases, while the deaths are at the ratio of 21. North Korea missile tests released photos from its recent test of the missiles. UAE destroys ballistic missiles fired by Yemen's Houthi rebels. And in Pakistan Super League 7, Islamabad United and Lahore Qalandars win the matches. PTV Sports telecasts the match live. And Rafael Nadal beats Daniil Medvedev to win a record 21st Grand Slam title. For more details and live streaming, log on to our website world.ptv.com.pk. It's a goodbye for now.
बादशाह
Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning, khush aamdeed, ji ayanu, goeiemorgen, ishbata.
Bakhair agale, ni hao, chune shumme, washwale, ohio gonzaimes, guten morgen, hola, boyor, privyet, kaifa hal? Hali shuma chutore, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabia, balli kiraya. And thank you very much everybody for tuning into PTV World. You're definitely watching World this morning alongside Shahzad Hasan Khan. And guess who's back? Miss Shiza Hashmi. Hello Shiza, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you so much for asking, and thank you for, sort of anchoring the show so well, even better than all of us together. And for all of you guys who were writing to me, thank you for doing that and showing your love as well. I'm absolutely fine now.
Wow.
I am negative now, for all of those
That's
who don't
the only
know.
negative you want in your life?
I swear to God,
Yes.
this is the only negativity I want.
But ladies and gentlemen, before we kind of talk about anything else today and what the show is about, I think it's really important for me to ask my wonderful co-host over here, well, how was her quarantine in the first place? What were the symptoms of Omicron variant? So that for each and every one of you who are out there, because the percentage of the COVID positivity, Shiza, has gone up to 11.7% within
Oh,
the country.
Lord.
Where 25 or more people are critical. But ladies and gentlemen, thankfully, alhamdulillah, it's not lethal, it's not fatal. And if you just look after yourself, you will not even end up having COVID as well. That's the first thing. So Shiza, let's start from the beginning. How do you think that you got it? And number two, what were the symptoms? And then how did you recover from it?
All right, so first of all, where you said that we should avoid it and not contract it, I think we have to accept this variant. It's so easily transmissible that I think everyone is going to develop
contagious.
it. Highly contagious, absolutely. I mean, I didn't even know I was going to get it because the symptoms sort of developed later, I feel like.
All right.
In my understanding, so there was this one day I had an entire day I had to spend at an orphanage and do things with a lot of people. That was the most social day, which makes me think maybe I contracted it from there.
All right.
Anyway, my symptoms started with me feeling so cold and shivering so much, I literally went into my bed. And then I wasn't able to get up because of the fatigue whatsoever and body pains and whatnot. So it's going to be as simple as any other flu, Maybe it will start with you shivering, maybe it will start with you with a headache or something. But it can be as simple as that, but you should definitely take care of yourself and the people around you because it will take its time. In my case, I think it took 7 to 8 days and I spent 10 altogether,
Wow.
so that everything is clear, alhamdulillah. But yes, definitely, my husband contracted it because, of course, we were living together. And then imagine, because our families were living at the place as well, we had to lock ourselves in the room because we didn't want them to contract it. So
Must be a little difficult.
it was also boring, to be honest, because what can you do in a room, right? I mean, there's only a window and there's only Netflix.
And you're sick.
And you're sick. It's so annoying. But alhamdulillah, with all of your prayers and your support, Shazad, I'm back.
Well, that's wonderful. And you know, we're excited, and we're happy to have you back as well. It's wonderful that you are here finally. But you know, kind of moving towards recovery, what were those dietary habits you picked up on that, okay, you know, maybe this kind of food will, or this kind of nutrition is going to help me? And did you kind of do that?
Yeah, so I was speaking to a COVID expert, and they told me the only thing that's going to get you out of it is food.
Yeah.
Any sort of food and fluids, right? So, and you feel sick, you don't feel like eating anything. So, in all honesty, I was force feeding myself fruits in all forms. It was either just fruit in itself, or a smoothie, or a fruit juice, or something, because nothing else I could eat. But I do feel weak.
Well, okay, you know, obviously everybody does feel a little weak, you know, even when they are negative, and it's because of the fact that your body has gone through so much.
True.
So it takes a little bit of time to recover. And since, you know, I was amongst the first ones within Pakistan to get it, so I kind of realized it. But with Omicron, ladies and gentlemen, you're positive, and then all of a sudden, within 6-7 days, you're negative as well.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Nothing to worry about, but please make sure that you're vaccinated and you have your booster shots as well. You were vaccinated, right?
I was vaccinated, yes, but I didn't get my booster yet because I was waiting for the 6 months to complete. I was only a few days short, and I didn't. I was lazy about
I think
it.
my immunity is doing better than yours.
Yeah, which is my fault. I should have gotten my booster shot, to be honest. But Shazad, because of my sickness and all, I wasn't even able to catch up on PSL as well. Luckily, you are my co-host, and you have an amazing show to yourself as well. So why don't you update me on
All right,
PSL?
so ladies and gentlemen, obviously HBL PSL Season 7 is on. Just yesterday, it was a double headliner where the first match was in between Peshawar Zalmi and Islamabad United. Peshawar Zalmi made 168 for the loss of 6 wickets, where Rutherford had a wonderful knock. He actually scored 70 on 46 odd balls as well. But moving down to Islamabad United, they were so furious, and the team was gelled in, and it looked like as if they mean something. And to be honest, I think Paul Sterling with 57, Alex Hales with 82, and Ramanullah Gurbaz with 27 did a wonderful job. And you know, but I think Peshawar Zalmi really needs to kind of work on their bowling attack as well, because they weren't able to take any wickets. There was only one run out, and that was 2 of Paul Sterling, and it was a run out by Mr. Wahab Riaz. We are glad that he's back, because earlier Peshawar Zalmi's captaincy was done by Mr. Shoaib Malik. They won the first match as well. Hassan Ali took 2 wickets, and the best part over here, ladies and gentlemen, is that when we talk about Islamabad United or when we talk about Peshawar Zalmi, at least both of these teams, they do look wonderfully well gelled in as well. But Peshawar Zalmi, you know, it was a tough knock because Islamabad United, it was their first match of the HBL PSL Season 7, did a great job, so congratulations to Islamabad United. But now coming down to Karachi Kings versus Lahore Qalandars. And ladies and gentlemen, it was one of the most important matches for Karachi Kings, because the last 2 matches Karachi Kings played, I think they didn't really put up a performance. And for Karachi Kings, the irony is that Sharjeel and Babar are the only 2 people Karachi is relying on, or probably Joe Clark as well. And they tried moving Nabi up and bringing Joe Clark down, but didn't really do a great job. But for Karachi Kings, it was a wonderful knock, because they were able to surpass 150 in making sure that they're going to give somebody a good target. So it was 170 for the loss of 7 wickets. But one more thing which I believe is very important, that Fakhr actually made the first ever century of the HBL PSL Season 7 with 106 runs on 60 balls, and Mohammad Hafiz coming in within the middle order, chipping in another 24, and Samir Patel with 26. Haris Rauf was very impactful with 3 wickets at the economy of 8.25 as well. Karachi Kings, I don't know what's wrong with you guys, because the amount of time and the amount of money has gone into Karachi Kings. Karachi Kings really need to emerge as a team, and they really look very dismantled on the field as well, where Babar Azam is literally pleading to his players that, hey, you know what, I'm the captain, you really need to listen to me.
Really?
Please make sure that you stand on these field places as well. So congratulations to both the teams who won, and today it's going to be another encounter. Let's see who's going to win.
All right. This was a great catch-up. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
doing that as well. And you know what? We will, thanks to Shazad, we will keep giving out all the
Inshallah.
information on
Both of
PSL
us.
to you guys every other morning as well. But Shazad, you know how for so many years we've been speaking about, rather we've been hearing from people that cricket does not need to be the only important sport in Pakistan.
It's
And
not.
It's not. Yeah, that's
Yep.
what I was coming to now. It's not, because a lot of attention is being paid to so many other sports as well.
Yeah.
So if you didn't like the PSL stories as much, don't worry. We have something even more interesting.
No, we
for
like
you.
it. We like it because,
Of
you know,
course, for some people
there's
out-
several other applications where, you know, the PSL matches were being screened as well. And imagine that, you know, just last night when I was logged onto that application, there was more than 1 crore people watching
Wow.
at that particular point of time. So, and
Super.
it's not just within Pakistan, it's world over.
Of course,
Yeah.
yes, definitely. While we love
It was a
that, we
little
also
senti-
love
I got a little senti about cricket.
I get it. We love to celebrate other sports as
Yeah.
well. So proud of the fact that this month actually a winter sports contest was going on in Gilgit-Baltistan with so many different areas to play and participate in. And this cute little girl on your screens right now, she happens to be Manur, and she's just 4 years old, ladies and gentlemen. And can you believe she actually scored a silver medal in ice speed skating? How amazing is that, Shazad? It's so inspiring.
Wow, it is. And you know, when we talk about winter sports contests, which were held in Gilgit-Baltistan near Nagar from the 17th to the 23rd of January, and we even talked about it when the GB's tourism or sports minister was over
Yes.
here just yesterday as well. Manur, a 4-year-old from Nagar district's Hooper Valley, astonished the globe by earning a silver medal in ice speed skating. Residents of Gilgit-Baltistan, particularly Nagar, were ecstatic with Manur's great performance.
We are
Skating
ecstatic.
fans applauded Manur in Gilgit-Baltistan, waving the green crescent flag with athletes twice his height. In this regard, her father stated that their daughter is sports obsessed.
Wow. Manu, we're so proud of you, and I think to the family, I mean, kudos to you guys for supporting and encouraging her at such a young age.
And you know, at times I do feel, you know, since we actually have a very visual sort of a set, why shouldn't we actually have snowfall, something
Hannah?
happening at the back of the screen as well, just to kind of relate with the weather. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about weather, there are a lot of things which play a very crucial and an important role. When we talk about climate change, when we talk about, you know, carbon emissions, I think we really need to talk about forests over here.
Right.
And Shizad, thanks to our Premier, Alhamdulillah, Mr. Imran Khan Sahab, you know, who had a billion tree tsunami vision, and he took it step by step as well, where in the first place they started plantation within the KPK, and then now they're going all over Pakistan, which is obviously going to have a lot of impact. But when we talk about deforestation, I think that's something which is very important for people to understand, that back in the 16th century, Shiza, deforestation was a thing because they really wanted land for agriculture.
Right.
But when you want land for agriculture, you cannot really go beyond the limits of how much you should really be doing deforestation, because when we talk about deforestation, it's about being or probably raising, ladies and gentlemen. So it's the razor term. It's like raising the trees as well, but it has actually increased. And not just that, over in Pakistan, when we talk about it, maybe the agriculture sector, I think it is being harmed by deforestation, not only by deforestation, with a lot of commercial properties being built on the land as well. And you know, when we talk about deforestation, ladies and gentlemen, so imagine when the plants or the trees get to grow within their natural habitat, obviously the environment is very moist, and then at the same time there's no soil erosion. But imagine that if we continue to do so, there's going to be soil erosion, you know, the atmosphere is going to be very dry, where the plants will die eventually. So this is something which we wanted to talk about.
Right. And in simple terms, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about the world in itself, Earth, it is definitely a perfect ecosystem, right, by the Creator himself.
Yes.
And while 31%, naturally speaking, 31% of the Earth's land was supposed to be forest, or I mean, it was when Earth started altogether. If we sort of mess with that, the balance is going to be lost.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
in
what
the
are we going
simplest
to eat?
terms. Right, and also, Shazad, generally speaking, 1.6 billion people actually directly depend on forests for either their livelihood, for either their food or whatnot, along with, of course, all the animal species that we need to discuss as well. So we have an expert over here in the studio who's going to let us know about how Shazad said how the billion tree tsunami is going to help Pakistan, and then generally how deforestation is impacting all the species around us.
Exactly. So So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, we are ready to learn, we are keen to learn as well, and we're ready to make an impact with the help of our amazing guest over here in the studio. He happens to be former IG Forest. He happens to be Mr. Syed Mahmood Nasir Saab. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you?
Very fine, thank you.
Sir, first thing first, obviously, I really want to know whether our research was correct enough to share with our audiences, because I want our audiences to kind of have the same confidence which we have on you today.
Yeah, thank you. It was wonderful, and it's great that young people like you are deeply thinking into it, and inshallah the future will be definitely better.
Inshallah, sir,
It's
and
good
we
to
certainly
hear.
want that. But, sir, let's continue with deforestation and how we have actually described and we have based a platform where we want people to understand what deforestation is. So, in your words as well, and why do you think that deforestation is on an incline and we're not thinking about it? And since you were the former IG of Forest, what did you do to stop deforestation?
Individuals don't matter, it's the institutions or
Which is why I
the
said
community.
former IG Forest. right?
Yes, instead of what did I do, let's
The
say what
institute
we did. And your analysis of taking the trajectory of deforestation from the 16th century onwards is a good starting point.
Jazakallah.
And if you go from 16th century to the present century, you will see that there is a gradual increase in human population, disproportionate after every 100 years.
Yes.
So I thought deeply into it, and to find the answer, it wouldn't come from the biological or forestry sciences, it would come from social and anthropological sciences.
Yep.
And what I learned is that every 100 years, the global population would increase by 1 billion people. That was the norm till 1901. It was around 1 billion. It should have been 2 billion by 2001, but it was not.
Okay.
How much it was?
7-ish.
It's 7-ish now.
Now,
yes.
And 2001 it was 5. So what is the difference? 2001 and we are in 2022.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 8+ billion. So in what happened in the last 100 years, that our population was,
We didn't have much to do and we were focused on reproducing. I think that's what we did.
again, the answer comes from the sciences of economics.
Right.
So a lot of food production, the food production increased, and production creates its own demand. That's the law of economics. And when surplus food came, how did it come? Because of a breakthrough in technology that was in the early 1910, 1916. There was a Nobel Prize given to someone who developed a cheap way of producing urea fertilizer from in the factories instead of coming from farmyard manure.
And that's where, sir, I wanted to ask you something as well. And please continue with what you were sharing with our audiences as well. And that is that, sir, the sole focus might have drifted away, and it is because of the fact that, from all of a sudden, from 1980s and 90s, we saw a shift from consuming organic food to synthetic food as well. And how, this urea was made, and how this urea has actually had a negative impact on our health and a global population's health as well, is something people weren't focused about, because it was a Nobel Prize and everybody thought, hey, you know what, it's a good thing and we really need to kind of consume it. But now we're realizing that, hey, you know what, we did it wrong.
So we at that time everybody was enjoying good food and
Cheap
good
food.
health, and
Yeah.
we nobody knew what is going on.
True.
And capitalism has Mr. Dollar has a lot of value. So the cheap production of urea meant globally it reached Pakistan and everywhere in the world till in the 1950s. Urea khad in packets instead of coming from farmyard manure, and there was a manifold increase in food production. And but now where we are, because of food production, there was a population growth, there was a lot of urbanization, not only in Pakistan but in most parts of the world. And to feed this big population, now we are at a stage you have to have it. If you go for organic food or for organic food production, you need entire globe for allocating land for agriculture, not to talk about forests. So the forest deforestation is has to be a natural phenomena. Now, where to reach a balance is invest on population, invest on education, and then also invest on curbing deforestation and increasing trees wherever there is a potential.
Right, sir, I was, of course, looking at your profile, and as impressive as it is, it was brilliant, mashallah. You know, it makes us think that, of course, you're the right person to explain us this. Let's talk about Pakistan only itself, where you said, while, of course, population might be increasing in all parts of the world, but Pakistan itself, looking at the geography of it and the resources and the economics of it, we weren't ready, we aren't ready for a population boom, but it's continuously happening, right? Which is why we're continuously depleting our forest resources as well. It's not just for architectural purposes. There are a lot of industries depending on forests as well. For example, paper for that matter. Imagine the amount of paper produced every day. In those senses, while the economics are not being balanced out, even if we were to say, okay, ye karke, hame iske badle mein ye mil raha, nothing's happening, right? How do you see that going towards a balance? Will it ever be fine for the general public out there?
If you look at the rate of population growth and take it project it towards 2030 or 2050, and see how much land you need for food production, not to talk about forests. It's alarming, and there are people thinking on that, but not that they don't have that much impact, and we have to be thinking on that and linking population growth with food production and with increasing forestry and curbing deforestation. That has to be our top priority, otherwise it's going to be difficult.
When you say our top priority, definitely the incumbent government has already started a lot of work on it before it was even a federal government, right? So how is that going to help Pakistan bring back all the forestation, or at least, be at par with the world where we are healthy enough in terms of our ecosystem? Sooner or later?
Yes, sooner or later, maybe yes, but there is a lot of changes also happening on the other sector, that people are getting more employment from IT sector than anything related to land sector. But whatever IT or technological source of income you get, you have to have food. And for food, you have to have land. There are so many breakthroughs coming. We know hydroponic. Now we are also seeing advances in aeroponics, food production. There are alternate methods of, when the entire city is made of concrete, then we are getting ideas of vertical forestry, rooftop forestry. There are things coming up, but slowly and gradually.
And so that's in particular what I want to talk about as well, because when we talk about the fifth industrial revolution, obviously a country like Pakistan, which has been developing and making sure that we kind of be in line or be parallel to the technological advancements the world is moving ahead with. I think at the same time, the primary concern is to how to kind of increase our per acre yield as well. And when we see the world over, they have so many technological interventions within the field of agriculture itself, that the per acre yield has been increased many folds. But unfortunately, Pakistan, may it be the fifth industrial revolution or may it be the agriculture, we still unable to kind of achieve our goals or probably even determine what the goal is. Do you think that when we talk about increasing the per acre yield, and that too where we get healthier food to eat, coming back to the very basics and grassroots where we want to have organic food and everybody's more aware of it, what kind of technological interventions can be brought in? Because we really need to see whether what kind of technology we want the technology to be a part of our ecosystem, probably when we talk about agriculture, and then kind of let go of all of those technologies which are going to harm the ecosystem within our own country. So do you think that the institute or the organizations who are working on it have their research with them? Because that's what everybody needs these days.
Yes, there is a lot of research, and we at this time we cannot think in isolation in Pakistan from the rest of the world. There's an centuries-old proverb in social sciences that psychic unity of mankind, all mankind is same, and the epilogue of this story comes in the shape of COP26 to COP27, which happened a few months back in Glasgow.
Yes.
And the science came towards the politicians, and they had big, claims. And then going back home, it's almost back to square one. Again, we need to keep on working. So the result is gradually, all the countries are becoming a bit serious, but slowly and gradually. But talking about COVID, in 1 year, they invested around $5 trillion in research and development and finding the vaccine. Otherwise, it would take 20 years. But coming to deforestation and climate change, since 1992, we are working on it. Every year, we have political statements that we are very successful. Glasgow was very successful. Copenhagen was very successful. Cancun was very successful. Kyoto was a breakthrough. And just in 2 years' time, it was shot down by the United States. And now it's nowhere.
Yeah.
And all the carbon credits created, there are still to be traded off.
True.
Right, and sir, you're very right. Likewise with Paris Agreement as well, where you say that while the top countries or the superpowers are the main contributors towards, carbon emissions as well, they are not as conscious as they should be. So, sir, I need you to explain to us, in the light of COP26 that recently happened and in SDG 2030 as well, what are some of the key achievements that Pakistan still needs to get on in terms of forestry? Or, well, climate change generally speaking, but forestry in specific.
The good news is that Pakistan is investing heavily on it.
Okay.
And at no time in history, it was always a good top priority of the provinces and the federal government, but not at this level. This is over too much, even at times beyond the capacity of those who are planting in the field. That's the good news, and probably we are going to be much better in 2030 vis-a-vis forestry.
And this is what we hope for as well. But sir, there's this newer term, and while I was doing my research, so I couldn't really get my head around it, so I want you to understand. So obviously, this thing makes 100% sense when we say that, there's a lot of deforestation taking place. Okay, we do know that now there's going to be more carbon emissions because the trees are not going to be around to make sure that they settle that in. So then there's this newer term which is being used by people, and that is carbon credit. And they're saying that the countries can take advantage of carbon credit, and this was something I was like, hey, you know what do we actually mean by that? So would you mind explaining it to our audiences out there in 46 different countries?
People say my specialty is to convert complex things into very simple
Sir,
things.
please do that for us.
But to make money, it should be otherwise. This is what they say. No, it's very simple. You see this green leaf. It could be agriculture or forest. From where they are growing, they are getting carbon from the air. They're getting sunlight from the free sunlight and water from the soil. And some nutrients. And the wonderful process of photosynthesis, they are producing biomass. So what is happening? This carbon from the air is becoming into solid, and this wooden table, now it's all carbon stored here, and if you just ignite it, the carbon goes back. So this is the simple thing. Now when this carbon goes, you look at it at a scale. When you burn coal, which is also carbon, then there is petroleum. Then when there is too much carbon in the air, now there is trees is a cheap option to bring back the carbon to the solid state. And at the time of the great scientist Newton, the parts of carbon in the air was 276 parts per million. Today it's exceeding 400. And that is
so that's the carbon credit?
No.
Need to use?
This is the carbon.
Saturation.
And because of the industrial revolution, which is continuing now, it reached 400 plus. Now, to bring that carbon back, so the global, as you mentioned about the Kyoto Protocol, the global leaders agreed that, okay, to bring back the carbon, the industrial countries or the any corporations which are emitting carbon, they have to bring back their carbon emissions by to 5% at the level of 1990. We can't go back to the pre-industrial revolution era. Now, to bring that, they devise a complex system of carbon credits. So 1 ton of carbon equivalent, it could be from any other source. Some other gases are also responsible, but mainly carbon. So one, that is through a complex certification process. You own a factory. Instead, you say, okay, I am not going to shut down my boiler. I'm not going to convert to clean energy. I'm going to buy a carbon credit. And here, we in Pakistan, if we are doing a afforestation project, and we are proving that we see from the air we took 1 ton of carbon, it's now in the trees and we are not cutting them. Here is a credit. Then there is a carbon exchange where these credits are traded, just like stock exchanges.
So are we ready for that? Do we have a
Interesting.
system in place?
In Pakistan, we are sometimes a bit late. We were a bit late in while actualizing the carbon credits during the golden era of Kyoto Protocol. But when we were fully ready, Kyoto Protocol was shot down. And we must be, as a good country, responsible country, we must not be looking at others
Any
to
other
do
protocol,
it.
yeah.
We should do it on our own, and we are doing it.
Wow.
And we should develop our own carbon market. There is still potential. Now, after this Glasgow conference, they are saying the carbon market is going to revive. Just to give you an idea about the volatility of the carbon market, it was as high as $30 per ton traded. So Mitsubishi purchased carbon credits from Pakistan. Fatma Fertilizer was emitting a lot of nitrous oxide while producing urea in Multan. So they purchased and they settled their carbon emissions through carbon credits.
Yeah.
Now we are ready to create more carbon credits. There is a lot of awareness, but the carbon market, the low price of a carbon credit was as low as 30 cents. And that was below the cost of production of a calculation consultancies. But there are hopes that soon there will be a rise in its demand and supply, and we will be ready by the next cycle.
Wow, that's wonderful. You want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, it's brilliant, absolutely. And just to reiterate a small fact that it's not just plantation that will contribute or actually help us get back with all the, forestation as tree plantation. There's so many other things we need to cut down on. For example, we were talking about paper, and the other day at one of the ATMs, not all of them yet, offers, there's a yes or no for getting a, what is it called? A receipt, right, in the end. So now the option says, take a receipt or go green. Go green means you're not going to get a slip out of it, which is absolutely fine. Why do you need a paper? Because you only get the paper out and you throw it in the dustbin or the road anyway, right? So these are some small steps I think Pakistan is taking, and I'm happy that we are doing that.
So very quickly, sir, there's one more thing. Now, it is great that, we actually have a system that, for example, you actually talked about, you named a fertilizer company who were actually manufacturing a lot of urea, and just because they were emitting a lot of other gases, so they had to go and buy a carbon credit so that they still have the liberty to produce those gases?
No, they didn't buy.
Okay.
They sold.
They sold.
So they were.
So now they still have the right to produce all of those gases?
No. It's suppose they were emitting 100 tons of nitrous oxide. Suppose.
Okay.
So they invested and they modified their machinery. So instead of emitting 100 units, they were emitting quite less, and the lesser emissions was converted to carbon credit that was sold to a buyer from Japan.
Wow, that's
right.
wonderful. But this is what the system is, that that you sell it, and then the person who's going to buy it will have the liberty to emit a certain amount of those gases as well. Wonderful. Now
Green
number two,
currency,
sir.
we're sort of dealing in a
Yeah,
newer
exactly.
form of currency.
Because I want our audiences to kind of listen to it carefully, because that's going to be a breakthrough. And
Yes.
whenever we talk about a breakthrough in Pakistan or all over the world, it actually becomes business. And then eventually, people have their own manifestations according to their businesses, and they want to earn as well.
Capitalism.
Now, sir, the cost of moving to cleaner energy or renewable energy is something which is going higher every single day. I think the government took the initiative where the duties were so low for the electric cars, and I believe it's great because that's why people are moving on to it.
Yes.
But don't you think that the government really needs to intervene when it comes down to moving on to renewable energy sources, where it may be solar, may it be hydro, or may it be any other energy resource which is out there available, and you create it yourself? Because now people, just because the business, obviously there is competition, but the cost is really higher. If I want to go towards cleaner energy or renewable, I think if we go to solar panels, it costs somewhat around 2 million or 2.5 million rupees to kind of convert onto that, and then you can add it to the grid, and then you might not even have to pay the bill, but the cost is so high. How do you think that we can bring it down so that it is purposeful for everybody to kind of convert to that?
I don't think there is any negative policy of the government to discourage renewables. They are always supporting it by reducing tariffs, and probably they are soon going to have solar-powered electric buses moving around in the capital at the first instance. So the things are not that bad.
Wow, that's wonderful. But sir, when we talk about electricity, we do see, there is a little bit of shortfall. Do you think it's the right time for Pakistan to move on to all sorts of electric vehicles and, electric consumption?
No, but we have to. We have to either, slow down on our lifestyles, and everything you do, you come by a car, or whatever you eat, you are consuming energy and emitting some sort of carbon. So we have to reach a balance. Mass transits are also coming in this country. That will most likely reduce a lot of carbon emissions.
Wow, that's wonderful. And one last question, sir, towards the end, because one of my friends is into biodiesel as well and biogases as well. And we're a country where we do consume a lot of water. We do have a lot of cow dung, towards the end of the day. How do you think we can put it to use? Because everything we produce can be used again. How do you think we need to move in that direction so that we become, I think, what do we call it, where, capable enough to kind of do things by our own selves, by our own hands?
This story of biodiesel and biogas is quite old. It was adopted because of its economics in the villages in many other developing countries. I don't know why it didn't get through all over Pakistan. Very few spots are there. Still a lot of scope exists, as you very rightly said. And after producing the biogas, good quality organic fertilizer is also available, or natural fertilizer is also available. But there is a need of lot of research into that. Why it didn't? Maybe there is something cultural into it that we didn't adopt it in a mass scale.
Exactly, because sir, when we can actually have the liberty to have patiyan for our hookahs, I think there might be other business giants who were in it already. That I mean, there can be so many reasons. But thank you very much, sir, for being with us. It was lovely to be in conversation with you. And who other than the former IG Forest, ladies and gentlemen, to answer all of the questions about deforestation?
Definitely, but Shazad, we're happy about it because better late than never. At least we're on the right track, and a lot of huge companies, international ones as well, are becoming climate conscious too. They're all going green, and I think individually we all have a responsibility to do that too. On this note, we're heading out to a short break, and I'm going to leave you with a thought. I don't know, Shazad, when it's going to happen, but I wish it happens. Do you remember in the movie Spy Kids, there was a technology where they just used to put a small thingy in the microwave and it would appear as a whole meal. Imagine doing that. How convenient is that? I mean, of course, there must be ways to do that.
But there was this one film, Shiza, I still remember, where there were burgers coming down from the sky as well.
Oh.
You remember that?
No, I don't really, but well, yes. There are so many ways we can reduce our burden onto the forest as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we're heading out to a short break, but when we come back, we have a very cute story to share with you. It's inspirational as well for a lot of you out there, so stay tuned to find out. Good morning.
Sarangi is a bowed, short-necked string instrument from subcontinent, which is used in Pakistani classical music. Its flexible tunability and its ability to produce a large play of tonal color and emotional nuance makes it unique. Carved from a single block of wood, the sarangi has a box-like shape with 3 hollow chambers called stomach, chest and
All right, people, thank you very much for staying tuned to PTV World. You're definitely watching World this morning alongside Ms. Shiza Hashmi. I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan. And as Shiza mentioned just before heading out towards a short break, that we will actually share a very inspirational story with you. So here it is, where we actually have been joined by a very young, amazing boy who wants to be on YouTube. He wants to act. And what he did was he took things in his own hands. And he said, hey, you know what? I should actually have my own YouTube channel. And which is why we call him a vlogger. He is Mr. Shali Mughal. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Walaikum salam, good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine, what about you?
Thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you over here. Why would you want to be a vlogger, and that too at such a tender young age?
Because I'm interested in acting, and I want that there should be a big name of me in the future. Like, people know me. I should be famous from this to this.
Wow, that's wonderful. So you actually want to be a superstar, right?
Yeah.
And it's good to think like that, and we wish you all the best as well to be a superstar as well. But when you think about being a superstar, whose footsteps do you follow?
There are many.
For example?
Asim Azhar.
Yep.
And Yukhano.
Yep.
And there's an Indian vlogger, his name is Saurav Joshi.
Yep.
And Zaid Ali and Shavi Jafri. I was inspired from them, Shavi Jafri and Zaid Ali, and then I think that I should make a YouTube channel.
Wow.
That's nice. So now that you feel like, Shahzad, and you might agree with me, with this generation, everything is so convenient, right? So when we were growing up, of course, in terms of internet or the availability or access on internet, it was really limited. We just had the snake game on our phone, right? So it's really convenient for your generation, which now I like to call meta generation as well.
Yeah.
Do you think this was the only way for you to do so? It's good, right? I mean, you don't have to wait outside film studios anymore or wait for directors anymore. You can just make your own business on internet.
It's a type of shortcut, but
it's not a shortcut. No, it requires effort, and you're doing it.
Effort, yeah. There's effort.
Right. So, are you enjoying it? And do you think this is the only way forward?
Yeah.
Okay, but I have a very important question for you, Shah, and it's because of the fact that imagine, you talked about Shabir Jafri, you talked about Zaid Ali T, and how they had videos, multiple videos on how brown people would behave and how English people would behave, depending on different occasions. And it's great. But, and it might be that I like that guy, that I'm going to name him, because I believe that his content actually creates a difference, brings about a difference, brings about a lot of awareness as well. And that for me is Muru. Because when I talk about Muru, I think Muru tops the list when we talk about all of these vloggers, because his content is full of sense. He makes sure that he's going to share good parts of his life, not just his life, alongside his wife as well. Even if he's going all over the world, he's going to make sure that he's going to tell people what to do. Because when it comes down to Zaid Ali T and Shavi and all of these people, I think that their content, I'm sorry, but this is what I feel, is closer to something which is not very useful for younger generations.
I mean, Muru is a brilliant storyteller, right? Even Shavir made Muru direct his vlogs of his shadi.
And Yukhano is great too.
Right, I wouldn't agree with that, but sure, I mean, we're all open to our opinions, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of, if you want to pursue vlogging, inshallah you'll be an actor, but until you're pursuing vlogging, what kind of things do you want to produce?
I want to make comedy skits, and I am making.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
Yeah,
Can you
and-
share one of the ideas with us? If it's out?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
and we have the
remember-
footages over there as well, where it's
Yeah,
my
this
brother
is
Asim
the
standing right
Asim
next to
is
Mr.
a
Shah.
vlog.
So
So
what
what
was it
kind of
about?
questions did you ask? For example, if you're making vlog, what kind of questions are you going to ask us? Let's do that.
I will ask about your career and how you came here, and that's it.
And that's
Okay,
it?
Too
so you know
much.
what? I'm going to put you to test over here, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in English. Depends on what language you use for your vlogs, right? Take a minute or a few seconds. I want you to do an opening of a vlog. Can
Okay.
you imagine a few lines how you would open for your vlog, and how do you do it? Is it a selfie camera for your
No,
phone?
it's a tripod, and there's a mic on it, and
A
and
proper
my own
setup.
mic, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So
All
do it.
right. So open your vlog. You're making a vlog about your tour to PTV. Okay.
Okay.
What are you going to say in it? This is your camera. Go ahead.
So I can do like
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
Anything
Do
you-
whatever you feel like.
Pretend as if you're acting.
Exactly. So, ladies and gentlemen, within a live show for the very first time, first ever live vlog being recorded. Please do it, Shah. Go on.
In my language.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, of course.
हेलो गाइज व्हाट्स अप, कैसे हैं आप सब? आई होप आप लोग अच्छे होंगे. सो आज जो है ना, मैं आया हूँ पीटीवी और काफ़ी अच्छा सेटअप यहाँ पर लगा हुआ है और मेरा इंटरव्यू चल रहा है. यहाँ पर मेरे जो होस्ट हैं वो यहाँ पर हैं एंड काफ़ी अच्छा है, काफ़ी मज़ा आ रहा है इनके साथ बातचीत करने में और थोड़ा नर्वस भी हो रहा हूँ,
Aw.
लेकिन कोई बात नहीं. तो आपको यहाँ पर आज पूरा टूर कराऊंगा और बहुत मज़ा आने वाला है. सो फिर मिलते हैं आपको थोड़ी
फिर
देर
मिलते हैं, देखते रहिए.
Very
Thank you.
nice.
Wow, that's great, and you're exactly on point. Hi guys, assalamu alaikum. How are you doing today? You know, this is Shah Ali Mughal, and I'm at PTV. You did a wonderful job. Yeah, I really need to clap for you because this is how everybody learns, and it is always a learning curve, and you always make sure that you continue to learn, and it's wonderful. But now let's come down to real business, where for your parents, the real business is whether you're studying or not. So are you studying? And if you're studying, are you studying well enough that your parents are happy enough to buy you cell phones and all the equipment you require for your vlogging?
I'm not too much good in studies.
It's all right.
But it's average.
So particularly which subjects you're not good at? I want to relate. I wasn't good in maths. I
I'm not
wasn't,
good
but
in-
I am now.
I
Yeah.
hate maths.
Okay.
I hate history and geography.
So you literally hate studying. At
not,
times.
Not literally.
And what about sports?
Sports, I used to play cricket on weekends
Okay.
with my friends. And I am interested in gymnastics, but I said to my father and he didn't allow me.
Oh.
Why?
He said that you'll broke your leg and that's...
And so which is why you really
And
need to kind
you're-
of stop
yeah.
thinking about how you want to be a gymnastic or what was it?
A gymnast?
Yeah, a gymnast. Yes,
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. But you know, the world is open of for newer ideas, and whatever you want to do, you should actually pursue your career.
Yeah.
I mean, for somebody to kind of pick up on being a gymnast is nothing wrong with it. And if you can do something wonderful with it, just start doing it, practicing yourself, and then let your father know once you've accomplished something.
I want that...
Sorry, sir.
Yeah, go on.
I want that I'm a gymnast. I'm like I'm walking and I'm jumping like Spider-Man, and I like Spider-Man.
Wow.
I want to be him. That I'm Spider-Man and I'm jumping, I'm flipping. I need
Wow.
that.
That's wonderful. Finally,
nice.
we have actually moved from an era where everybody wanted to be engineer and a doctor, and now
He wants to be
because you
Spider-
know when I was growing up,
I
I
love it.
wanted to be a Ninja Turtle or Superman, and now I have another one who actually wants to be a Spider-Man. Wow.
Imagine, and I always wanted to be a Barbie, but I think
Barbie.
it's what you grow up with, right? So you're doing an amazing job, and you know what? The purpose of him being here is that you have to start somewhere, right? And especially with the younger generation, I think I love that they already have this thing in them. They want to be something already. They don't want to rely on their parents anymore or some sort of degrees
Conventional
anymore.
thought
Yeah,
processes.
definitely that. And they are doing something about it. The convenience and the access of it is just incredible. So towards the end, Shah Ali Mughal, I want you to give out a message to everyone out there who might be watching you and thinking, yaar, mujhe bhi vlog banana chahiye. What would you tell them?
They should make vlog, and if they're interested, and if they will make vlogs, then their confidence will be gained.
Yeah.
And
and they will do wonders in life.
Yeah.
And it's a healthy
That's
activity.
wonderful.
I mean-
Thank you very much, Mughal Saab, for being with us. It was wonderful to have you over here. But towards the end, Shiza, I actually have a good news for you.
Okay.
Because a lot of people are getting plastic surgeries these days, becoming or turning themselves into Ken dolls or Barbie dolls as well. If you want to be a Barbie, this dream can literally come true. So there's no holding back.
Oh, well, it was not in terms of physical looks, but yes, definitely. That is happening, and I think we need to have a segment on that as well, the availability of the entire new
painful, yeah,
industry
it's
of
painful.
cosmetics and whatnot as well. But maybe another day, right? Till the next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourself. Please stay safe because the positivity ratio for this variant of COVID is so high. I want you all to be really, really healthy and at your places as well.
Yeah.
We'll see you tomorrow at the same time, inshallah. Take care. 1, 2,
Exactly.
3.
So it's time that we kind of wrap it up and go back and check whether Shiza did really get negative or not.
I am,
Or
I
is she
promise.
still on work as well. But yes, I was just kidding, ladies and gentlemen. Look after yourselves. Stay blessed. 1, 2, 3.
Good
morning.
Take care.